Hi, welcome to video number 4 of KDOT's training topic about the corridor point naming convention. Continuing the discussion about the identifiers in the naming convention, the second identifier is the major geometry feature identifier. The geometry feature identifier is made up of two parts, the major and the minor, and they're separated or delineated by a colon. The major geometry feature identifier is a mandatory field. There must be a value in the corridor point names in this area. And this one represents the major type of feature that the corridor point falls on. And maybe the easiest way to describe what we mean by major features is the list of standard values that we see here in Table 2. So barrier, a physical object, right? Centerline, which is another roadway feature that we're very familiar with, but maybe not, a physical monolithic type of roadway feature. It's more of a location on the roadway that we commonly refer to. So we see these types of standards established, and as open roads designer usage becomes more prevalent on Kansas DOT projects, we're going to be seeing additional major feature standard values developed and added to this standard. So it's definitely a work in progress. This is a good starting point. And, as you get into designing on KDOT projects, if you see needs for additional standards, by all means, please contact, KDOT CAD support and share these ideas with them. That's how we're going to, fill out and complete these standards, the quickest and, get the most value out of them, and they'll become the most useful. The second half of the geometry feature identifier is the minor geometry feature identifier. And typically, this area is reserved for identifying the location that the point has on the major feature. So if we were talking about curb, for example, as the major feature, then perhaps the top of curb or the top back point on a curb might be a minor feature that we would want to use to identify a point. And we can combine these minor feature identifier values as needed or as appropriate for the point that we're naming. And it's going to be necessary to do that at times. When we do combine them, it's not what we're not wanting to do is adding an extra colon for additional delineations between the minor feature identifier values. They should just stack up against each other so we only have one colon, and its purpose is to differentiate between major and minor geometry features. We don't want multiple colons in the geometry feature identifier field. I think the geometry feature identifiers and the major and the minor values and really the point naming convention standard as a whole is a little bit much at first glance. It takes a little bit to get used to. I think once you start looking at the examples that we've provided, it's going to start making more sense. So just bear with us as we work through this material. We will look at some examples together before the training is complete. That concludes video number 4. Please continue on to video number 5.